Welcome back. Well, back home on the Lal Street, markets consolidated in a range after a strong rally from the last few days. Nifty seesawed between the red and the green before ending flat with a tad bit of negative bias. SENSEX too ended flat, and the broader markets is what actually outperformed. Bank Nifty also rallied about 170 points, while the MIDCAPS ended with the gains of around 150 points. But for what it's worth, it looks like today it'll be a day when we perhaps will go on higher, because there are a lot of positive cues, right from crude to dollar to global cues, as well as the local cues in terms of OMO as well as the GST collections. So Mangalam, tell us the cues. They all look positive for the bulls. Maybe, as Nigel was pointing out, not the cues that bears would want to wake up to.
Absolutely, not the cues that bears would want to wake up to. And yesterday was consolidation, but for whatever it's worth, you know, over the last 3 trading sessions, we're sitting on a monster, semi-monster rally, if you must. 376 points on the Nifty from October 26 lows. Nifty Bank has also almost gained about 1,000 points. And for this week itself, the mid-cap index outperformance is something that really stands out. So while the frontline indices, the Nifty and the SENSEX, they're up about 3.5%, the mid-caps and the small caps, they are up 6 and 7%. So that's telling you that the street believes there is firm support on the lower end. Add to that, look at the stocks that have rallied, and these are big names that I'm talking about. SBI up 15% this week itself, and this week, the last 4 days, you have Punjab National Bank, and I'm not even talking about OBC, Union Bank, Canada, which have gone about 22, 18 and 25%. NBFCs, they have seen a fair amount of drubbing in the previous month, and this week itself, we've seen big gains come by on Indiabulls Housing Finance. It's a nifty stock, up 24%, DHFL up 26%. Ujjivan, of course, was an accident sometime in the previous week, up 22%. This week, Repco, Shriram too, gaining. And then it's the capital goods sector. Yesterday, the bellwether, which we talk about, L&T, that one's up about 11%. Cummins, Siemens, ABB, KC as well, up around 8%. You spoke about crude. Yes, crude is below that $73 per barrel mark, and we cannot emphasize more on the interconnectedness of crude with the other macros. When the crude falls, the demand for dollar comes down, and that stabilizes the rupee, if you must. And when that happens, you know, fiscal deficit concerns at least are pushed at bay. Bond yields, they start coming off, and that does well again for all those financials. The FIIs, what they did yesterday in cash market was something to take heart from, because it was what, 349 crore worth purchase, and this comes after selling almost 30,000 crores in October so far, and that perhaps is the largest absolute sell number that I could see in a very long time. Perhaps could be history as well. So it's all looking good. And for every Sachin Tendulkar innings, there is a Tony Greig, and for every Dow rally, there is Donald Trump. So Donald Trump tweeted yesterday, he said, you know, just had a long and very good conversation with President Xi. You guys were talking about it, and they are going to have a good meeting in the G20 summit. Let's see what happens there. But on the fact of this meeting, we had the Dow rally. The SGX Nifty is indicating a positive start. 10,500 is a mark that I'll be watching out for. If we move above that level, then what happens is that, you know, there is case for short covering, because on the way down, 10,500 was a support. Let's see whether it offers any resistance or not. Short covering, why? Because the FIs are what?
Net short.
Still 67% net short.
Okay, all right. Mangalam, thanks so much for that. Well, everything's going actually for the bulls. Even the GST collections, that came in at more than 1 lakh. So everything's looking good. As we said earlier, the bears, they don't want to wake up today. But let's see how this trading session goes. Mangalam, what the plans for the evening? No, actually, what are the stocks we should be looking at for?
We'll talk about the stocks first. And you know, there's that old saying that a scared bear is the biggest bull. Let's see what happens and all of that.
Excellent, Mangalam. You're on fire today.
It's Friday. It's Friday. Bring out all the analogies. Watch out for Axis Bank. A lot of results today, because, you know, ICICI Bank did well ever since we saw the moves come by in the corporate lenders. So Axis Bank, let's see what they can offer. HPCL didn't do too well today. Let's see what IOC offers. Hindalco, I'll be waiting by for what you have to say about Hindalco, and let's hope it comes during the market hours itself. Okay, it's the market hours, so you don't have a late evening. Godrej Consumer from my sector is also something that I'll be watching out for. Among the results that came in yesterday post-market, HPCL, well, they made less money on every liter that they sold, and they sold less liters, so not a good set of numbers coming in there. But remember, they will be positive today, given the crude is below $73 per barrel mark. DLF, the finance cost has actually halved year on year, so that is a positive. Add to that, the bookings have gone up quarter on quarter, 780 crores. This compares with around 600 crores. GNFC too as well. We saw a revenue growth of about 9%, and the operating margins have improved by about 160 odd basis points. IIFL Holdings, well, all the numbers are okay. The one thing that causes a bit of a fly in the ointment is provisions. They are up 175% quarter on quarter, so that is something that the street will take note of. HCC, I don't know how much the reported numbers numbers matter, but the important part is the writing of the entire investment in Lavasa is important, and the gross debt has also come down by about a good 500 crores year on year. So that is something which would be something that the street would take note of. Hitachi, ho-hum sort of numbers, revenue up 9%, the EBITDA was down 45%. Greaves Cotton, again, 9.5% growth on the top line, 8% growth on the EBITDA. Parag Milk, good set of numbers, double-digit revenue growth, margins expanded, and that caused a 22% growth on the bottom line. So that's a positive. SRF2, good set of numbers coming in, 48% revenue growth, and percolating down to the bottom line, 47% net profit growth. Talk about some auto sales numbers that came in post-market yesterday. Eicher Motors, weak set of numbers. I don't remember the last time we could say, it's a weak set of numbers for Eicher Motors. Total sales up by just 1%. Of course, remember, this was on account of loss of production due to 25,000 units which weren't produced in September and October. So let's see what happens out there. But Hero MotoCorp ends it with a hero, 16% growth in sales in the previous month.
Well, okay, Hero Motor ending as a hero, and you are also ending as a hero. But we'll take a short break on that show.
Okay.
We'll discuss your evening plans in the break. But once we come after the break, we'll discuss what President Donald Trump said. He has revoked duty-free privileges on import of at least 50 Indian goods. More on that when we return.